cool. Take it away, team.
Ooh, that's definitely me. I'm hoping I am up on the screen and can be heard.
You are.
Hello and welcome. Thank you very much, Elliot. I'm unable to share our presentation. Elliot, you are okay to
Yeah, I've got it sorted.
Thank you so much. Hi team, welcome. Again, thank you to the Macquarie team for keeping under time. That was an amazing effort. Wonderful news there. Hi, welcome to Cognizant. My name is Simone and I'm the Talent Acquisition Manager here for early and entry-level careers. We're also joined today by my colleague Mantri, who manages our graduate program. She's on the Q&A section. Feel free to reach out there. And we also have one of our graduates, Karin, with us as well. Now, I will get through all of our formalities very quickly so that you can importantly hear from her, which is why you're really here. But as we begin today's session, I do want to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet. May I please pay my respects to their elders past and present. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders on their phone here today. Thank you very much. Hi, welcome to our session and welcome to Cognizant. So today we're going to talk a little bit about who we are, Cognizant, who we are, what we do, and also a little bit about our graduate program. So as we kick into it, Cognizant, we are a global organisation, a very large global organisation of about 300,000 people. And as a group of 300,000 people, we provide professional services and consulting to customers. We are 300,000 absolute technology experts, and it can be technology experts in a very, very wide range of technology. So please keep that in mind. Your opportunities and career in technology and IT are endless in this organisation. I will take it down to a more local level soon, but let's talk about us globally. We were founded in 1994. We are headquartered in Jersey in America, and we have over 100 delivery centres across 40 countries. As I mentioned, we're 330,000 employees globally, and we had about an $18 billion profit line last year. Hopefully our name will become a lot more familiar to people if you are watching the Formula One this weekend. We also sponsor and are closely associated with Aston Martin. So we do a lot of very exciting work in their data, technology, digital space, not only with the Formula One car, but also in regards to their normal technology as well. Just to give you a little bit more context in terms of who we consult to and who our customers and our clients are. As you can see there, a lot of the top global retailers are our customers and clients, global pharmaceutical companies, insurers, the top European banks, as well as the top Australian banks, also healthcare organisations, and also a lot of the top internet companies we're also very closely associated with. As we move on to the next slide and trying to take it here then locally to Australia to give you some context in terms of who we are here locally. The next slide will then show that here in Australia and New Zealand, we began our journey and operations here 20 years ago. So we started here in Sydney in 2002, and then we opened our Melbourne offices in 2009. We have been a top employer here in the Australian New Zealand region for the last 5 years, and we are going for 6 years consecutively this year, fingers crossed. And we are a population locally of about 1,500 associates. We're also supported by over 2,000 people offshore that deliver other services. Very excitingly, we have 14 delivery centres across our organisation across the globe, and very excitingly, one was actually opened in Australia very recently, earlier this year, and it's our first one outside of India and the Philippines, so very exciting. Cognizant in Australia, the name may not be known, but you also may know us by some of our acquisitions. So in 2014, we purchased Odyssey. We also own or purchased Adaptra, SAS Focus, also Softvision, Contino, Collaborative Solutions, and also an organisation that may be familiar to some of you. Servian is also an organisation that is owned by Cognizant or is a Cognizant company. We are headquartered now in Sydney in our Barangaroo location, award-winning Barangaroo location, I should say. We also have amazing offices in Melbourne, and we also have a presence in Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth, Auckland, and the rest of the country. So very exciting. We really are growing our presence here in Australia locally. As a consulting organisation and as absolute technology experts, our people drive our organisation. So we are an extremely employee-centric organisation because we're technical experts and we go out to our organisations and we consult them and say, you know, what is all about technology. We need to invest in our own people so they are those technical experts so they can provide that advice and guidance. So when you join an organisation like Cognizant, not only will we help you really develop your passion for technology and really find that niche area and specialization that you're really passionate about, but your learning and development in that area or in IT in general is extremely important to not only us, but also you to make sure that you're staying engaged and kind of challenged throughout your employment with us as well. So we do definitely pride ourselves on developing our people, definitely having a team mentality. It's one of our values that we hold very precious to ourselves as well. So really about employee centricity is what we do. There's also some really big recognitions there for us as well. We are a top employer in over 17 countries. We were an AAGE top 75 graduate employer this year, which is very exciting. But there's also some global things there too, because we are a very large organisation. We are also recognised on the Forbes list for a number of different awards, definitely in terms of best employers for diversity, which is a really exciting initiative and definitely something that does translate here to the Australian and New Zealand region as well. Moving on, and probably what you want to hear about, the next slide is really in regards to our graduate program. So we find that there's no better way in, I suppose, learning rather than really experiencing it. So our graduate program is very hands-on, it's very immersive, but it's one where you'll be supported throughout every step of the process and every step of the way. But really how we see things working, it's really a complementary skill and a bit of a puzzle where we do an experience-based learning, professional growth development, and also technical upskilling throughout. But what's fantastic is not only are you really supported internally from a Cognizant perspective, but you're also able to work with some of Australia's largest high-profile customers and clients. So, you know, you look at buildings out there in your major capital cities and you look down and, you know, your big buildings, all those big names, that's who Cognizant provide our services to. That's who we partner with. It is very likely that you use our technology and you probably don't even know it. But our graduate program, very immersive, very hands-on, really learning things and being thrust into things from day one. So our graduate journey on our next slide really shows you a little bit step by step in terms of what you can really expect in terms of that graduate journey. So this takes us through kind of the first year. It is a year program that we do see really being put into place where you specialise from the very start. So the first month is really a new induction program, really learning about Cognizant, who we are, what we do, and how we go about things, and really developing in a classroom environment a base set of technical skills and competencies. There's definitely learning. There's a lot of practice and a lot of practice in terms of being introduced into our practice and service lines and areas of that nature as well. So there is a lot happening in those first months and definitely in that classroom type environment. The second month also follows the first a little bit, that classroom environment, learning and developing base level set of skills, technical skills and knowledge, and really then connecting with our leadership teams. We start to introduce you to clients and projects that you could be potentially engaged on. And you really start to be introduced and really ingrained into your service line to learn more detail about what you are going to be potentially doing hands-on in the next couple of weeks. And then the third and fourth month of your journey is definitely in the project environment, working within a service line, delivering on actual client projects, being a real life work experience and environment. So we do bounce in and out of the classroom environment occasionally throughout that first year, but it's definitely a journey where you are really supported throughout. It's immersive. You do deal with our talent acquisition team, our HR and P&C team, our learning and development team, our service lines, and also leadership, all at the one time. A very immersive experience throughout the entire year and journey. And then just at the top of the year, that first month, look, we are a global organisation, so there is a little bit of work to do in terms of asset allocation, induction activities. There is also mandatory e-learning and compliance checks and things of that nature. But that's a little bit of a nutshell in terms of who Cognizant are and that journey that we've just outlined. But more importantly, probably after the next slide, which is the graduate experience, and I'm going to hand over to our graduate that we have speaking today, Karin. Karin, I'm hoping you are on the line. We are going to pass over to you. You do have probably about 5 to 8 minutes to talk here, but look, I'll allow you to introduce yourself a little bit, I suppose, what you're doing at the moment in terms of the graduate program, what you're participating in. And look, if there is some time, you and I might just do a couple of Q&As, but also to the room, please feel free to throw questions into the chat and we will definitely get around to answering them. But Karin, I will pass over to you, please.
Easy. So hi guys, I'm Karin. So I actually came from a civil and architecture background and worked in construction for a bit, then did a general assembly 6-month course, which isn't kind of the traditional way of getting in, and then landed the Cognizant graduate job. What I'm doing at the moment is I'm halfway through the grad program, so I'm 6 months in, or just about a bit over that. I'm a grad analyst in the Salesforce practice. It's been quite an experience so far. I chose Cognizant coming out of, well, not a very traditional IT uni background, just because of what Simone was mentioning, the first 6 weeks structured program, which really adds kind of an ease into the working force. So if that's something you're after, I actually really recommend the program, just because of that particular initiative that they've got. But it's also a great opportunity. You get to work, being a global company, you get to work with a lot of field experts, both locally and offshore as well, which is awesome, getting to interact with very different people and seeing their different experiences and how they resolve issues and what problems they come across. And the clients that Simone was mentioning as well, you get to work with quite big, either global or large locally clients, and you get to interact with a lot of I'm running out of words, but a lot of prominent clients and a lot of prominent technologies, and you get to be a part of that working scheme, which is awesome.
We're a bit hamstrung, aren't we, not being able to actually speak client names, but team, honestly, if you're on the line, Karen's probably trying to say like maybe a big banking organization that, you're looking at your phone application and you're like, oh, that's a big 4 bank in Australia, chances are Karen maybe contribute. It's those types of things. We do work with some really big customers and clients, prominent, well-known, blue chip, top 100. That's what we're trying to say there. But Karen, good job.
Thanks, man.
Hey, Karin, can you just talk, because I know that I probably cut you off there a little bit, but can you just give the team on the call just a little bit of an explanation in terms of what you kind of do day to day? What does a normal day in IT consulting kind of look like? What do you do?
Yes, what I do is I'm more on the kind of debugging and resolving issues end. So what happens is the client would come in with a lot of problems that they might have with an app that we've produced, and they send through the different problems and the different incidents, and we just filter through when we resolve on the back end. So that's usually what we do on a day-to-day. And then on the occurrence, if someone's releasing a new app, then we get to be a part of that as well. So I'm not on the developer team, I don't get to develop it, but we get to see how that development meets the business side and how they kind of communicate to each other and release the new product to the client.
Yeah, amazing. Hey, probably a little bit of an impromptu one, but in terms of your career and your development, have you given thought in terms of where you want your career with Cognizant to go? Have you spoken to your mentor about that? Do you have ideas in terms of, maybe going down that dev path or not so much? Have you kind of thought about that?
I have, yeah. So it was great. Kind of at the start, they kind of really encouraged you to find mentors. And so when I found mentors and worked with different people, I've worked with developers in the team, and I've worked with functional members, I function in the functional team. And what I've personally liked is being in the functional teams. So that's something that I'm leaning towards, and kind of found more mentors there, and seeing what they do on a day to day. And it's all a learning progress. I'm trying to take it one step at a time, but that's kind of where I'm hoping I'd end up.
No, it's interesting insight though, right? Because everyone thinks that sometimes IT and like a career in IT is only about development, or it's only cloud, or it's only IoT, but you're saying that there's a lot more to it, and it doesn't necessarily have to be technical, right?
There is, yeah. There's a lot of teams actually. You get surprised when you come in, not knowing you kind of there's certain umbrellas that everyone hears of, but when you're in the team, there's actually a more significant breakdown of different roles and different people that do different functions. Particularly in a big company, you get to see a lot more that goes on. And it's nice to kind of find different people and learn from different, see what everyone does, and find mentors in what you lean towards, and that's where you progress.
Now,
Yeah.
I think that I'm like one last question, and this is probably more advice for the general audience. Now, please don't take the one about mentors because you've already used it. But in terms of what else would be your one piece of advice? Mentors are extremely important. I think other people have also mentioned that. But in terms of a piece of advice or something you'd like to leave with the audience here in terms of their journey and exploring careers, what would you say is the most important thing for setting them up for success in their journey here?
One piece of advice is, I think, don't go in with a fixed attitude of what you think you'll want to be in 10 years. As much as that was a question maybe a couple of years ago in interviews, I think it's great to kind of walk in with a flexible mindset. You don't know what kind of positions may be there. You have a general assumption of what might be there, but you don't exactly know. Having a flexible attitude just helps you find what you're more oriented towards rather than what you think you'll be best at. I think you get to grow and learn that way a little more.
Amazing. Karin, thank you so much for your insights. Team on the line, I hope that was really valuable. Karin is an up-and-coming superstar with us, so this could be your journey with Cognizant. Karin, thank you so much from the Early Careers team here. The rest of everyone on the line, look, we will be going through an application process again. We will be reopening applications in June. For more information about Cognizant, our graduate program, please feel free to visit our site at Grad Australia. If you would like to reach out to the Early Careers team or Karin, I'm sure that she would welcome a reach out on LinkedIn. But me personally, as I mentioned, my name's Simone and Karin. Mantry Bonage is my colleague. Yes, we're here to help at any stage. So I'm hoping that I'm on time. 60 seconds, maybe less to spare.
Hang on, got a couple of questions as well, so we can get to them.
We can take those offline. I don't want to interfere.
No, we've got a couple of minutes. We've got a couple of minutes. I just reckon this is a really good question. So one of the questions came through from Ben in regards to, like, where do you position yourself in comparison to IBM?
Oh, yeah, really difficult question. I would say that we're probably more. Look, we probably do more than IBM. We say that IBM probably has and look, this is no detriment. This is probably my understanding of them as well. We probably look at them probably more servicey, a little bit more infrastructure-y, like more in terms of that side of it. We are more larger strategy experience the whole way through from design all the way through implementation. So that's probably where IBM will probably go in and deliver something very specific. We can actually come up with a full end-to-end solution and deliver globally, worldwide.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, team. And now there's one question that's come through, but you can definitely answer that offline. You can just type the response to that as well. Even though you guys are one of my clients, I learned something today, which is always a plus. So hopefully the students who are on have picked up some things and excited for their applications to open middle of the year.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks, team.